At the halfway point of the season, the Astros are 20-20. Does this mean that they're going to finish the season with the 81-81 record? Hopefully things get better from here. But the last four games, this has been a roller coaster ride of emotions.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talkstros. You find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Sorry, not on YouTube, but if it's on, where are we? Sorry, I'm thrown off a little bit tonight. This series, this whole season has been kind of throwing me off. Yeah, YouTube is the right way to say it. So go and subscribe to us. Make us first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go and make us your first listen. And we're trying to get to 14,000 subscribers. I believe we're like 200 subscriptions away. So go and help us with that. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So there's a lot to talk about in today's game. And it was frustrating to see what happened over the weekend. We all know we're not going to harp over this Lance McCullers thing, but let's talk about what happened. So on Friday night, you had a situation where you had the pitching. I guess let me hold off on the pitching. I could talk the whole episode about pitching. Let's talk about the good news. Let's try to start off with some good news first. Let's try not to be all bad news in the first segment. So Altuve did return to the lineup, and after missing a game with the hamstring pull and leaving Saturday's game a little bit early, so he went 2 for 5 in today's game. He did have he looked like his legs were okay. I believe he beat infield hit out as well, or almost beat infield hit out. He looked like his legs were okay. So this is something that you don't have to worry about as Astros fans. But overall, this was a good sign that Altuve was back in the lineup, batting second, and back at second base. I think the Astros did a very smart thing here. If he's having a tight hamstring, you don't need to put him out in left field where he's be doing a lot of running. So I think it was very smart of them to put him out in second base and give somebody else, Denzenzo, who did have a big hit, a double later on, to a chance to play in left field. So that was very smart. We'll see if the Astros play him again at second base. He's actually got a better, I know it's a small sample size, but better defensive metrics this year at second base versus left field. Granted, he is learning how to play left field, but he's not embarrassing himself, but he's not that Gold Glover out there in left field. Let's be honest. And I don't think Alvarez is that Gold Glover out there in left field, but he has that arm that Altuve does not. And some of these, you have a bunch of infielders playing the outfield. Denzenzo, he's an infielder. He's playing the outfield. You have Cam Smith. He's an infielder. He's playing outfield. And every time that him and Jake Myers almost run into each other in outfield, it's a little bit scary. But to see that Altuve returned back to the lineup, that was great to see that situation. Some other positive news. Alvarez, he took some batting practice before today's game, and they're going to see how it responds. And Espada said that he's doing well, and hopefully we can continue the progress to get him into the lineup. He's eligible to be activated on Tuesday. Does that mean that the Houston Astros, who have been very conservative and they don't want to rush their players back, does that mean that they're going to have him back in the lineup on Tuesday? No. And Espada said it's just more how he feels. And once he's ready to go, we'll make a decision then. But if Alvarez says, I'm good to go, he looks good at batting practice, I think Tuesday is maybe too soon, but I would say maybe by the end of the week, you could see Alvarez back in the lineup. So the Astros are very right-handed right now, and that's the situation. Luckily, the Astros took care of business against the Petty on Sunday, but the Reds intentionally took took away the starter Abbott. He's a left-hander, and they went ahead and put a righty in to face a mostly right-handed lineup. And so this, if you have more lefties in there, then I think this might. The Astros just are very right-handed, and you went out and got Walker. You traded Tucker, and you went out and got Paredes. So the Astros are very right-handed until they have somebody that rises and says, "Hey, I'm a good player. I can play. I can hit left-handed." It's only going to be Alvarez, and whoever else can switch hit, something like that. But it was a good game offensively. You could say that. Once again, they were down 7-0 after 3 innings, and then somehow the Astros came back and scored 5 unanswered runs. So they are getting it done recently offensively. They're not pounding the ball. They're not hitting home runs left and right, but they're getting it done overall. You would like to see some more bases loaded hits. They've got the worst batting average with bases loaded. And so there are some positive things that you're seeing, but there's also a lot of negative. But the main negative here is the offense can't keep on coming from behind. Like the other day when the Reds scored 13 runs, it takes a lot of runs to outscore 13 runs. I know that's the math teacher in me, sorry. But today's game was a little bit more winnable because the bullpen did its job. We'll talk about the bullpen in a little bit, but 7 runs in the first 3 innings, and then they scored some runs. And you got 7 runs, or you got 2 runs in the 7th inning, 3 runs in the 8th inning. So this team, yes, it waits forever. And as a Astros fan, as a guy that is like, okay, I've got to do a podcast after this, it drives you crazy. It's like, why can't you be a little bit more consistent? Why do you have to wait until late in the game? Why can't you score more runs early in the ball game? But that will take time. This team is still trying to find its way. And like somebody said, well, Paredes is not hitting. Christian Walker is not hitting. Well, Christian Walker has in past 17 games actually has a decent batting average, a OPS plus of 137. He's actually been on fire. Now, getting it done with runners in scoring position, that's a different story. Yainer Diaz has been doing a lot better recently. And don't look right now, but Yainer Diaz has his batting average all the way up to 244 with a 664 OPS. So Diaz is doing a little bit better. You have Caratini. He's getting a lot more playing time with Alvarez on the shelf. So he's getting some hits. And Jake Myers, where would the Astros be? You think 2020 is bad? Just imagine the 2020 vision you would have without Jake Myers this year. 2 hits today, another RBI, and he's batting 298 with the 783 OPS. So this offense is starting to get a little bit more consistency, a little bit. I think that if we don't go on this roller coaster ride we're seeing with the pitching, we'll talk about that in a second. This offense is almost where you want it to be. DeZenzo got a hit. Smith got a hit. The only 2 people in this lineup that did not get a hit were Paredes and Walker. But Walker has been doing a little bit better. So sometimes these guys just have off days, but it sucks when your 3 and 4 hitters both take an off day. But Paredes did have 2 walks in this game, so that's one positive. And Jeremy Pena, since moving up to the leadoff spot, he's been awesome, and his batting average is all the way up to 292 with a 782 OPS. So there's some positivity about today's game. So in a second, we'll go and talk about some things that didn't quite go so well. Hey guys, let's go and talk about FanDuel. I know that the Rockets are unfortunately out of the playoffs, but every night delivers highlight worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't miss moments. Whether it's a game winning shot or breakout player, there's never been a better time to get into action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in a game before tip off and live with player props, performance trends, and same game parlays. Fans want to have more ways to play smart and win big. Whether it's how many home runs will Alvarez have this year, or who will have more home runs? What about Cam Smith? Is he going to win the Rookie of the Year? He's going to have to start hitting a little bit better if he wants to be in contention. But these are all types of things that you can look at FanDuel. So go ahead and go to FanDuel. If you're new to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up. Just head to fanduel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel. It's the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. If you're wondering where Brett is, he's coming back from the game. He had some fun at seeing the new uniforms in person. Unfortunately, it was a loss, but Brett, he's out there having fun with the fans and the listeners out there. So if you got the chance to see Brett, hopefully you got the chance to say hello. But the Ryan Gusto, he said hello back to the rotation after the brief stint in the bullpen, and the Astros are now in day 4 of a 17-day stretch where they're going to be having no off days, and you're going to need a 6-man rotation. The Astros technically right now are in a 5-man rotation. Wednesday, they're going to call somebody up. It's likely going to be Colton Gordon. It hasn't been made official yet, but you need your pitchers going deep. Like Ronel Blanco, he did great on Sunday. He went 8 innings. The bullpen was like, you know what? We're just going to chill. We don't have to do much in this game. But let's just talk about this weekend as a whole. Friday night, Hunter Brown goes out there, 5 2/3 innings, dominated, just threw a little bit too many pitches, a little bit wild, had 4 walks in that game. But overall, he had control of that game. Then he had Lance McCullers through 1/3 of an inning and gave up 7 runs. And then you had Ronel Blanco go out there and pitch 8 innings, shutout innings, and limit the bullpen usage. And then in today's game, you had Ryan Gusto go out there. Granted, this was his first start back after being taken out of the rotation, being placed in the bullpen, and this was his first start back, but still, he was a little bit rusty. He wasn't quite the same guy we saw in his first starts, but he gave up 7 runs in 2 1/3 innings. So it's like a roller coaster ride. We know the pitching is not the Astros' problems. The hitting has been all year. Just getting hits with runners in scoring position, getting hits with bases loaded, and just being more consistent. But right now, a scary thought is, what if this rotation is what we think it is? What if this rotation is a rotation that just goes out there and does this? You have one good start, one bad start, one good start, one bad start. But this bullpen, it's going to be taxed. You can't have these guys going out pitching 1 1/3 innings, 2 innings, and then expect to not have these guys' arms fall off. And so what Ronel Blanco did on Sunday it's just so much more important. And so Gusto went out there, gave up the 7 runs, and it was a quick exit. Yes, he didn't technically give them up, even though they're charged to him. Taylor Scott came in and gave up 2 of those runs, but they're charged to Gusto. But Taylor Scott was, I believe it was bases loaded when he came in, and it was just an impossible situation. Sometimes you just come in and the momentum has already shifted, And as a reliever, you just come in and just try to do the best you can. At that point, you're just trying to get outs. You're just trying to get out of the inning. And Taylor Scott did his job. He allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, and then he went on to pitch 1 2/3 innings and didn't give up any runs up by himself. So this is crazy. Just I think that what this tells me that the Astros, they should have gone out and got some more depth this offseason. Well, we got Luis Garcia, we got Christian Javier, we got Lance McCullers, we got all this depth. You can't count on these guys that have been injured. You can't count on these guys to stay healthy. And the situation that they're in now is you have 3 starters. You have Blanco, you have Valdez, and you have Hunter Brown. And Hunter Brown may be the best pitcher in baseball right now. If he's not the best pitcher, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. And Framber Valdez, one game he could be the best pitcher in baseball. Next game he could be whatever. But I think what the Astros are seeing right now is they're seeing how hard it is to find good quality starters. Justin Verlander, he's I believe he's had an up and down, or he's been pretty decent for the Giants. I honestly haven't been paying that much attention to what he's been doing, but I think the Astros would have loved to have him on the staff, but they weren't going to pay that much money for Justin Verlander, especially after everything that happened last year where he just kind of fell apart and it seemed like his time was done. And so if you're looking at what the Astros might do after the season is focus a lot more on Framber Valdez, because these starters don't grow on trees. These starters don't, it's hard to find these guys. Like Spencer Arrighetti may be a guy you can count on for many years, but without him in the rotation, it just shows the weaknesses that the Astros have right now. And it's scary. It's scary to see what could happen without Framber Valdez. You have Hunter Brown, Blanco, and Arrighetti. Then maybe hope that Christian Javier comes back. There's a lot of hopes. Okay, Chris says that JV has a 4.31 ERA. And at this point, I would take that. I would take what he's doing for the Giants. And just keep in mind that the Giants are in the National League, and the National League are a much better team. And so the Astros, they've been dealing with some good pitching so far, but you have the combination of the lack of hitting and then inexperienced starters, and then the bullpen can only do so much. And it's just frustrating. One day the hitting's good, starters not good, bullpen's good. Why can't they put all the pieces together? That's all we want as fans. That's all Astros fans want. Put it all together. Have that World Series recipe that we've had, that the Astros fans have had for many years. And they're 20-20 right now. They're 20-20. They're on pace for an 81-81 record. I mean, you have your best hitter in Yordan Alvarez, and he's struggling even before he got hurt. Was it the injury that was hurting him? But just keep in mind that the Astros are not that far off from where, I mean, they're better than they were last year still. Last year, they were 15-25 at this point. As bad as this team is, as frustrated as you are, think back to last year, how bad they were. And so if you think about 2021, they were 23-17. 2022, they were 25-15. 2023, they're 21-19. Last year, they're 15-25. And who did they lose to in the playoffs? The Tigers. We all laughed about it then and said, you lost to the Tigers? Who's got the best record in baseball, or at least in the American League right now? The Detroit Tigers. So maybe the Tigers were about to rise. And maybe the Astros were on their downfall. So the Astros needed to go out and get some pieces to continue their rise, but they did not. Well, they did, but not exactly the pieces they needed. So, guys, we'll go and continue this conversation. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Hey, guys. Thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Go ahead and make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. If you're wondering where Brett was, he was coming back from the game. I just went ahead and he was a little bit late, so I just told him I'll go ahead and go solo. Brett will be back tomorrow. But guys, thank you for being the best part of the Locked On Astros podcast. Just the Locked On Astros Nation. Thank you for everybody that comes out every show, win or lose. Thank you for the support. We do appreciate that. And if we don't tell you enough, we do appreciate that, even all the comments. And like Tej says, Brown, Valdez, Blanco are carrying this team. Yeah, even Blanco was not carrying the team to start the season. He was struggling a little bit, but once he got his groove on, so to speak, he was doing a lot better. And so Blanco is a guy that for the first time, didn't play winter ball. So it took him a little bit longer to get warmed up. But the good news is Blanco didn't play winter ball. That means that he should be able to go deeper into the season, not wear out. And so you might be able to get an extended look at Blanco this year. I think Hunter Brown, he's going to be fine. And I know that Valdez, he frustrates you sometimes, but you know for the most part what you're going to get. At least 5 innings. He may give up 3 runs, like 4 walks, but typically he gives you a pretty decent performance. And that's why I think this offseason, before he hits the free agent market, I think the Astros are going to make a very big attempt to re-sign him, because these lefties don't grow in trees. What Framber Valdez offers to the team, it's a lot. And what the Astros bullpen has been doing does not grow in trees. You have a bunch of nobodies. No offense to anybody in the bullpen, but you have a bunch of guys that nobody has heard their name before. And outside of Houston, Astros fans, we know about it. We've talked all offseason about these guys, and we talked about them as they've risen through the minor league system, whether it's Brian Keane came through the minor league phase of the Rule 5 draft. But these guys have all come from different spots. Taylor Scott was just a free agent signing. But these are all guys that other teams either did not want, or the Astros just saw something that other teams did not see. And that's what Urquhart was. And that's what some of these other guys were. So talk about imagine just having the worst day of your life like Ryan Gusto had when he gave up 7 runs after 2 1/3 innings. And imagine being a pitcher coming in like that. You're like, uh-oh, well, the floodgates have opened. What can I do? Woe is me. But this bullpen comes in, starting with Taylor Scott. Yes, like I said, he gave up the 2 runs, but then he in 7 and then 1 2/3 innings, he doesn't give up any runs himself. 1 strikeout. Then Bennett Souza, in 2 innings, 0 runs, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. His ERA on the season is 1.54. Then Urquhart, another 2 shutout innings, 1 hit allowed. His ERA is 1.23. Then Caleb Ort, a lot of people did not expect anything from him. And I remember when he came up last year, he was showing a lot of great stuff early. Then he kind of faded. I don't know if that was an injury or if the league just kind of figured him out. But Ort had another shutout inning. His ERA is at 2.70. But what this Astros bullpen has done recently, especially after the Lance McCullers debacle the other day, where he gave up all those runs. And yes, the bullpen did give up some more runs, but for them to kind of keep it within arm's reach and the offense almost got back in it, that was impressive. So, and sometimes too many runs is too many runs, and it's hard to stop the dam once it breaks. And that's what happened on Saturday. But in today's game, they're able to kind of patch up the dam and just get it all going. So what this bullpen is doing is impressive, and it's just a bunch of guys that nobody knows about. And so I think what the Astros will be looking at the trade deadline is probably another starter, especially if you don't have somebody else step up. Don't expect Arrighetti coming back through the doors anytime soon. He still has a cast on his finger, from what I understand. So they may also go out and get another part for the bullpen, because you can't expect a lot of these guys to keep this up. They're performing over their heads. But then again, the Astros have found a way in the past to get these bullpen guys to go above and beyond. And that's what they're doing. You have the Astros with one of the best ERAs in baseball in the bullpen. And overall, the starters are kind of coming a little bit back to earth, but the starters, they're not that bad either. So it's really not the pitching, but recently it has been the starting pitching. You have the short games. This is going to eventually wear out the bullpen. Like I said the other day, you're going to have to keep on calling up fresh arms from AAA. And we know that the Astros are about to go down from 8-man bullpen to 7-man bullpen once you go down to a 6-man rotation. So this is going to be a further issue. So Ryan Gusto, Lance McCullers, whoever the starter is, they've got to make a conservative effort to stay in games longer. And Joe Espada is probably going to be like, look, I know you're out there taking the licks, but sorry, you're going to have to just do it. We just don't have the arms out there. And so it's going to be crazy. That's the one bad thing about 6-man rotations is, yes, it does help the starters, but also puts the extra strain on the bullpen. But I think the Astros will be fine. They've got 3 starters that can go 5 to 7 innings consistently. It's just piecing together the other guys. Colton Gordon, he's the big unknown. You don't know what to expect from him. You don't know what to get. Like, he can come up and impress you like Hunter Brown did when he first come up, or he can be like AJ Blueball did and only pitch a couple innings or 3 innings or so. So it's with these prospects, it's hit or miss. And so going back to what Blanco did, it was super impressive, because this bullpen is not going to be able to keep on weathering the storm. You're going to have to stop giving up all these runs early in the game. And yes, and as Sports Strike says, Hader barely has to pitch. Yes, we're going to have to start putting Hader in for 2 innings in non-save situations, just because you've got to get some arms. And like McCullers, yeah, he's going to have issues too. Like, he's going to have to start pitching. I think that Joe Espada is going to be very patient with McCullers. Gusto, I don't know if he has the same pedigree, he hasn't earned his stripes, so to speak. And so I think they're going to be a little bit more patient with McCullers than Gusto. Gusto has been pretty good at times this year, and other times he's looked about average, but he's been decent this year. So maybe it was just a bad start. Maybe it was just, I don't want to say he wasn't ready, but he was coming from the bullpen. I believe he pitched midweek last week out of bullpen. So maybe just getting back in routine every 5th day, maybe that will do good for Gusto, but he just didn't look in sync in this game. And the Astros fell behind 7-0, and sometimes it's just too hard to keep on battling back. The Astros almost came back and won on Saturday. They almost came back. You had a runner on in the 9th inning, but unfortunately they couldn't get that run home or get another run home. So sometimes you just fall short. Sometimes baseballs. The Royals are not a bad team. They're 25-18. They're third in the AL Central. Just think about that. The Astros are 20-20. They're fourth in the AL West. The Astros, I don't want to say they're free falling, but they've got to be more consistent. And that's what we've been talking about on the Locked On Astros podcast for a long time. JP France, he is not going to be ready until at least the second half of the season, if then. Christian Javier around the same time. I don't think that you can count on Luis Garcia anytime this year. If he comes back, that would be great. But I just don't know with some of these guys. When you're talking about elbow injuries, it's hard to say, oh, yes, I guarantee that these guys will come back. But Hayden Wesneski, he looked like he was a legit starter until elbow issues came up. Maybe going from the bullpen, being thrown into the fire a little too fast. Who knows? But guys, that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. Thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check us out. Brett and I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be talking about an Astros win, because we definitely need one after this game, because keep on having these roller coaster rides. Eventually, you got to get to the fun part of the roller coaster ride. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow, and go Astros.